What? What made Naphtali take Wangechi's life that day? What made him commit such a hideous act in broad daylight? Without fear, without even thinking about the consequences. Hi, today we're going to look into the tragedy that took place on 9th April 2019 at Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. Before we get into that, let's start by knowing who Ivy was. Ivy Wangechi Kingori was a beautiful 25-year-old medical student. A firstborn in a family of 3 to Wainaina and Winfred Kingori. Her mom is a teacher at Chomo in Murang'a and her dad was a principal at Kanjuri Secondary School in Nyandarua. She was brought up in a strict Christian background. After primary school, Ivy joined Alliance Girls High School. It's one of the best high schools in Kenya, by the way, it being a national school. Only the most intelligent students are accepted. So it tells you how smart Ivy was. While at Alliance, Ivy taught Sunday school at Musagitao Presbyterian Church, where she was the darling to her kids, and the kids adored her, and at one point she was even in charge of the unit. Ivy disliked seeing people suffer, and that is why she always offered a helping hand to those in need. So it was not surprising when she decided to pursue medicine after high school at Moi University in Eldoret. Ivy also loved books. She was such a bookworm that her family recalled in one of their Christmas celebrations, they had a huge bonfire, and every time Ivy managed to sneak into her room where she would bury herself in her books, they had to call her out several times not to miss out on the fun. After medical school, she wanted to continue and become a neurosurgeon, which would have been very beneficial to Kenya because there are 39 neurosurgeons in Kenya and only 4 of them are women. Before her death, Ivy was in her final year at Moi University. This makes it more devastating because she did not get to wear the gown. She did not get to enjoy the fruits of her labor. She did not get to be the daktari her family called her. So what happened? 2019 was a year that saw a rise in domestic violence, especially against women. Everyone, including young people in relationships, felt insecure. It felt like you could not trust the one closest to you. On 9th April 2019, at around 10 a.m., at Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, a woman was hacked to death. That woman happened to be Ivy Wangechi. The 25-year-old was attacked by Naphtali Kinuthia, 29 at the time, with a knife and an axe. Ivy had been walking alongside her classmate, Andrew Koinange, now Dr. Koinange, when everything happened. The two were walking from the hostels heading to class when they decided to grab some food. Dr. Andrew noticed someone creeping behind them holding something and struck Wangechi. He first thought it was a rod, so he turned to grab it, but soon realized that it was an axe, and Kinuthia had lifted it towards him. This made Andrew run, and as he was running, he tripped and fell. That's when he looked back and noticed Ivy was already on the ground and had been assaulted twice and was losing a lot of blood. Afterwards, Naphtali attempted to escape, but the crowd that was forming around him tried to stop him, and that's when he decided to swing the axe towards them. But this did not calm down the situation. They attacked him ruthlessly, and the only thing that stopped the attack were the police, who took him to Moi Referral, which is airy when you think about it, because this is where Ivy had been working on her residency before he took her life. The cause of death was hypovolemic shock. This is when a body experiences severe blood or fluid loss, making it hard for the heart to pump enough blood to the body. This was confirmed by Dr. Benson Masharia, a pathologist. After some sort of recovery, Kinuthia appeared before Eldoret Senior Resident Magistrate Douglas Musetti, where he denied the accusation. This was done after Kinuthia was confirmed to be fit to stand trial. Then Kinuthia was detained for 14 days while the police interviewed witnesses and collected evidence, which was sent for testing at the government chemist. According to the information at the time, before Kinuthia appeared in court, he had admitted to an officer that he killed Ivy. He said that he did this to Ivy because she had not reciprocated the love he showed her, even though he had spent a lot of money on her. Law enforcement and witnesses who were at the scene claimed that the attack seemed premeditated. They alleged the axe and the knife used were new, which Kinuthia would later deny during trial. One thing I noticed in domestic violence cases, especially when the victim is a woman, there tends to be a lot of victim blaming and rumors on social media. It's fascinating because most of the time people tend to provide reasons and justifications to why the suspect attacked the victim. Well, this can be explained by the psychology of victim blaming. Sherry Hamby, a distinguished research professor of psychology at the University of the South and the director of Life Path Upperland Research Center, said, and I quote, "I think the biggest factor that promotes victim blaming is something called just world hypothesis. It's the idea that people deserve what happens to them. There is a really strong need to believe that we all deserve our outcome and consequences." Another renowned professor of social work at Widener University, Barbara Gillen, notes that while people tend to be able to accept natural disasters as unavoidable, many feel that they have a little more control over whether they become victims of crime. They can take precautions that will protect them. Therefore, some people have a harder time accepting that victims of this crime did not contribute or bear some responsibility for their own victimization. In my opinion, and remember, I'm not a psychologist, is that we have a tendency to victim blame because our minds are not able to comprehend that a human being is capable of such evil acts. Well, Ivy faced the same problem of victim blaming. Netizens, these are her internet users, claimed that she had infected Naphtali with a disease, which was not true, by the way, because she was tested and the results were negative. Some other netizens claimed that she was a slay queen and that Naphtali bought her BMW, which her parents refuted and enforced that she was an honest, decent girl, and added that Ivy did not even know how to drive. The parents say they felt like they lost their daughter again with all the rumors. Miss Waithera, her mom, held that the society should change their attitudes towards women. Women are strong, they work hard, and not all of them are after money. She added that people should give families time to grieve for their loss. In conclusion, I think we as human beings should learn to fight for the victim more than the perpetrator. We should seek justice and, most importantly, remember that there is no justification for taking an innocent life. The case had a couple of witnesses, including Ivy's mom, who testified that her daughter was a self-driven, obedient girl. She was not an argumentative person, not even with her siblings. She did confirm that Ivy and Kinuthia went to the same nursery school, but they were not in a relationship. 3 of Ivy's friends also gave their testimony. They told the court that the accused was a stalker who could not handle rejection, as he kept nagging Ivy into a relationship, despite the victim's attempts to severally make it clear that she was not interested in him. The trio told the court that Kinuthia had threatened to harm her in revenge for the money he had spent on her, and that it would end in death. Dr. Andrew also gave his testimony of what happened, and a witness, Jackson Getich, testified that he was from a health checkup when he saw a slim man attack a woman in a white dust coat twice. He threw stones to make it stop, but Kinuthia ran towards him with a knife, so he tried to avoid him. Getich added that before the accused was arrested, he was surrounded by boda riders who were throwing stones at Kinuthia. After 4 years, in 2023, Kinuthia finally confessed about everything that happened on that day. Before Justice Stephen Githinji, Kinuthia gave his testimony before the court for 3 hours, led by his lawyer Wakobi Mathenge. During his testimony, he said that their friendship started when they were in nursery school, which later became intimate. He continued and said that after having problems, he tried several times to reconcile the difference between them. He even communicated with one of Ivy's friends and asked her to convince Ivy to meet so that they would talk about it. He told the court that Ivy had informed him about her upcoming birthday and that she needed 28,000 Kenyan shillings to host it. She requested him to send her the money, but he only sent her 14,000 and promised to deliver the balance on her birthday. On 4th April, Ivy blocked him and traveled to Eldoret without informing him. So, to sort out their differences, he decided to travel to Eldoret and went to the university where he parked and decided to locate her physically. I wanted to wish her a happy birthday and inform her I will not be attending the party because I was to travel to Nairobi immediately for work, he continued. I also wanted to deliver the balance for the party personally. Near the hostel is where he saw Ivy and went to meet her. Ivy was surprised to see him and immediately informed him that her new boyfriend will take care of the cost of the birthday and told him that he was not invited to the party and to leave immediately. He was so shocked at what she said that he did not even reply to the statement. At this point, he knew that he had burnt all the bridges and there was no way to restore their relationship. He said, and I quote again, "In my mind, I felt like a loser and helpless because of what she said. The connection we had since 1998 had suddenly come to an end." As he was getting back into his car, he looked back and saw her holding hands with a male friend. At this point, he could not control himself because of his anger and claimed that he was not himself when he decided to pick the axe and attack her. He also claimed that the axe had been in his car for a year. After the incident, he recalled that he was attacked by the members of the public, causing him to sustain injuries and lose consciousness. He was rescued by the police and taken to the hospital. He later gained his consciousness and was informed by a nurse that Ivy was gone. Kinuthia testified this in a very composed manner. The judge directed the case to be mentioned on April 25th for final submission before the judgment. One thing I noted with Kinuthia's testimony is that he did not mention the knife and he claimed that it was not premeditated, which contradicted with what he told the officer at the time and what the witnesses and the officials saw. It has been 4 years and the family has not been granted the justice they yearn for, and this is quite devastating. I do hope that Ivy gets the justice she deserves. We don't forget what happened to her, and let her story be an inspiration to fight against domestic violence. May you rest in peace, Ivy Wangechi Kingori.